Hello, my dear coaches, mentees, and listeners. For today's lecture, I will be discussing about issue spotting techniques, and we will also be decoding or answering actual bar questions. Last lecture, I've already discussed some bar tips and techniques, and I've already covered different types of bar questions and how to answer or approach them. This time, we will be focusing more on ALAC format. Okay, but before that, let us first identify, or discuss some techniques in issue spotting. Okay, so what is issue spotting? So we have two kinds, of issues. We have issue posters versus issue spotters. Okay, so a lot of my coaches or students are asking me how to identify the legal issue. Okay, so there are two types of bar exam essay questions. So understanding which type you are facing determines your entire strategy. For the issue poster, the question tells you the legal issue. So the legal issue here is expressly stated in the question. Okay, so mas madali ito, no? Kasi andun na eh. The question or the legal issue is already posed in that question. For instance, is X liable for quasi-delict? So the issue here is quasi-delict. That is already stated. Okay, so your job is only to apply ALAC format correctly with the right law and facts. Now, we also have issue spotter. Ito yung medyo mas mahirap. Okay, the question buries the legal issue in a narrative. For example, the sheriff harvested bangus from a fish pond while enforcing a writ. So was this proper? So here, you must first identify that the issue is classification of property under the Civil Code and not the enforcement procedure. So we will be discussing that later, okay? So why issue spotting is the hardest bar skill? Issue spotters are more challenging than issue posters because the examiner deliberately disguises the legal trigger inside a factual narrative. So you need to spot, you need to pinpoint the legal issue. Even experienced professors and bar reviewers sometimes disagree on what the core issue actually is. Okay? Kaya kung mapapansin nyo, sa mga bar questions, di ba mga sagot lang ay suggested answers? Okay, merely suggested, not the exact answers, but merely suggested answers. Okay, why? Because maybe there are a lot of issues involved there that may be answered in different way or different interpretation. Okay, so that's why suggested answers. Okay, so the danger here is if you spot the wrong issue, your entire ALAC answer, no matter how well written, will earn you minimal points. Correct issue identification is the threshold requirement for a high score. So how to identify or spot issues? Well, actually, you need to practice, no? Constant practice answering mock bar exams, okay? Reading previous bar questions and answers. And you need to have a good foundation or background in your what? Substantive law. No? Kailangan alam nyo kasi yung batas eh, para ma-identify nyo kung ano ba yung issue. You need also to practice. No? Do not take for granted your mock bar exams. That's how you practice your skill in spotting issues. Okay, so very important. And then read, no? Read previous bar questions and answers so that you'll know for a particular topic, you'll know how the bar examiners before asked questions regarding that topic. Okay, so skill yan eh. So skill is you need to what? Constant practice. Okay, you need to learn how to, no? Okay. So I've identified 7 issue spotting techniques, okay, that may help you to identify issues in both issue poster and issue spotter type questions. So for the first technique, you read the question first, okay? Baka ngayon, no, magte-take na kayo ng bar exam, ang strategy nyo pa rin sa pagbabasa ng bar question is reading from the top to bottom. No? Ang advice ko sa inyo is read the question first. Okay? So that is the first step in spotting the issue. Even the law students who are listening here, okay, in your midterms or final exams, when you read a question, read the question first. Okay, why? Because it tells you exactly what the examiner wants. For example, if you need to explain, or you need to rule on the validity, or you just simply need to list the rights. Okay? So knowing the question or the call first lets you read the facts purposefully. Okay? Filtering what matters and ignoring the noise. Okay? Because in a given problem, there are or they may be a lot of facts that are not relevant in the question. That's why you need to what? Trim down, no? Kailangan nyo munang i-filter ano ba yung importante rito na facts. Kasi yung iba, hindi lahat importante. That's why you need to read the question first. Okay? That is a very important tip that I can give to you. Okay? I can advise. What else? So here, wrong approach, reading from top to bottom, okay? Get absorbed in the narrative and then realize at the end you need to decide, no, validity of a marriage. And then you have to reread again everything with different eyes or different point of view. So what is the right approach? You read the question, okay? Is the marriage valid? Now, you already know the question. Is the marriage valid? You will now think, okay, ano nga bang requisites of a valid marriage? Now, when you read the facts with that filter active, okay, so every fact either supports or undermines validity. So you ignore irrelevant facts immediately. Okay? For the second technique, we have the subject trigger method. So here, you need to identify the trigger word so that you will know which legal rule to apply. For example, in the civil law, so we have trigger words, contracts, property, family, okay, succession, obligations of the parties, the validity of marriage, about lease, contract to sell, contract of sale, okay? So when you read those trigger words, dapat meron na sa isip nyo, what are the applicable doctrines for these trigger words, okay? So these are merely some examples, okay? So there are a lot of trigger words, okay? So what the important thing is, of course, you know your substantive law. Okay, so you also have in the criminal law, okay, trigger words for political law, okay, for remedial law, we have jurisdiction, filing procedure, okay, execution, for commercial law, okay, and for labor law, the dismissal, the employer-employee relationship, the benefits of the employee, due process, the jurisdiction of the NLRC, okay, and many more. Okay, so you need to what? To know, to identify the trigger words so that you'll know which legal issue or legal doctrine to apply. Okay? We also have the third technique, pattern recognition. So we have here, so after reviewing hundreds of bar questions and answering mock bar exams, okay, so you will now be what? More experienced in recognizing structural patterns that signal specific issues. So we have here common patterns. So for example, one fact that changes everything. So for instance, in the bigamy, nakalagay dyan, no? But he was already married. Okay, so tingin nyo, pasok ba agad siya sa bigamy? Okay. Or there's a statement stating that no marriage license was issued. So would that fall under a void marriage? Okay, so be very keen, okay, of this kind of twist facts. And then we also have missing element. Maybe in your criminal law, not all elements are stated. So we'll check which element is missing. Okay. What else? Procedural trap. So the facts that seem substantive, but the real issue is jurisdiction, venue, or choice of remedy. Okay? So the question really tests which court has jurisdiction and not the merits. Okay? What else? Defense buried in the facts. So facts suggesting self-defense, good faith, consent, or justifying circumstances that the examinee must spot and argue affirmatively. Okay? And we also have fourth technique. element by element checking. So once you identify, for instance, the crime, the contract, or doctrine at issue, mentally recite its elements and check each one against the facts. Okay? So check nyo, if the facts supply all elements, then liability attaches. Pag may kulang sa element, walang liability. Maybe other kind of crimes. Okay? Or if one element is missing or contested, then that contested element is now your issue. Okay, so check nyo lahat. So that's why, as stated a while ago, you need to know your substantive law. You need to know the elements, okay, for you to be able to identify the issues. We also have multi-issue layering. So long bar questions often contain multiple sub-issues stacked on each other. So use a structured decomposition before writing. So for any complex question, as in this sequence, so is there a preliminary procedural issue? No? Jurisdiction ba yan? Prescription? Venue? Standing? Legal standing? Or is the chosen remedy proper? Or was the action filed on time? Or are the substantive legal requirements met? Or are there defenses? No, are there defenses to consider? So there are a lot of layers. Now, when you see, no, or identify that the issue is merely procedural, so no need to go to the substantive one. If procedural pa lang, mali na eh. Okay, so titignan nyo, be very careful. Okay? So examiners award points per issue. Sub-issues multiply scoring opportunities. So never jump to the substantive answer if a preliminary issue is present in the facts. Okay, so tingnan niyo muna, baka mamaya jurisdiction pala ang problema, hindi yung substantive. Okay, so be very careful. Okay? What else? Defense scanning. After applying the elements, also always scan for defenses that the facts might support. So for instance, is there justifying circumstance? Is there an exempting circumstance? So is there consent? Good faith? Okay. May procedural bar ba? Is there a double jeopardy or prescription? Or is the question calls for an exception to the general rule? So many examinees lose significant points by correctly proving liability, but failing to address a defense clearly embedded in the facts. Okay, so the examiner put those facts there for a reason. So tingnan nyo, ano ba yung mga defenses ng kabilang party? Okay, so iwiwi nyo yan eh. Tama ba yung defense niya? Or hindi? Ganun siya, no? Then technique, no? Number 7, the checkable unit method. So here, write your answer in checkable units. So short, precise paragraph where each unit contains exactly one legal principle, one fact from the problem, and one mini conclusion. Okay? A segmented, clean paragraph allow the examiner to check off each correct point independently. Okay, so I will be showing some examples regarding this later. So the strategic priority is to prioritize issue coverage over elegance. So a short, incomplete sentence that correctly names the issue earns more points than a long, eloquent paragraph that addresses the wrong point. Okay? Ang haba-haba ng sagot mo, pero hindi mo naman na-spot yung issue. Okay, so mas maganda ng maikse at na-pinpoint mo agad yung issue. Okay? So prioritize issue coverage over elegance. Now, we will be answering actual bar questions. Okay, let us decode. So for each question to be discussed, okay, so the issue buried in the facts are identified, the legal trigger tags are noted, the issue spotting analysis explains the hidden reasoning, and then a complete ALAC answer is constructed and explained. So this is how we will be discussing or decoding actual bar questions. Okay, let us read question number 1. So, bigamy and void marriages. So, let us read the question first. Okay, so does JR have a valid defense in the bigamy case? Decide with reasons. Now, napasa nyo na ang tanong, right? So, think about bigamy. Ano nga bang provision or law regarding bigamy? Now, let us read the question or the facts rather. So, JR married Inka in 1981 without a valid marriage license, and later married Elena in 1995 without a marriage ceremony. Inka filed a criminal complaint for bigamy. JR argued he cannot be liable for bigamy because his first marriage with Inca is void for lack of marriage license, and his second marriage with Elena is also void for lack of ceremony. Now, Elena also earlier filed a petition for nullity, which was granted with finality by the RTC. Now, the question, does JR have a valid defense in the bigamy case? Okay. So these are the issue tags. So elements of bigamy, void ab initio marriages, okay? The judicial declaration of nullity is not a prerequisite in criminal proceedings. And what else? For the issue spotting analysis, so the surface question is, does JR have a valid defense in the bigamy case? Okay? And the real issue operates on three layers. So layer one, does the void ab initio character of the first marriage, which is lack of marriage license, okay, negate the element of a prior valid marriage required for bigamy? And can JR raise this in criminal case without a prior judicial declaration of nullity? So yung layer one. What else? Layer two. Does the void ab initio character of the second marriage, no, may pangalawa which is lack of ceremony, similarly negate bigamy liability? And thus the judicial declaration of nullity obtained by Elena, even if secured after the marriage, serve as a valid defense. And now, layer three. Anong controlling doctrine? Okay? So here is the answer in ALAC format. So yes, JR has a valid defense to the crime of bigamy. The Supreme Court has expressly ruled that an accused in a criminal prosecution for bigamy can interpose a defense of a void ab initio marriage even without obtaining a prior judicial declaration of absolute nullity. Okay, so a void marriage is legally inexistent from the beginning, meaning under the eyes of the law, the parties were never married. Because there's no legally recognizable first marriage to speak of, the essential element of bigamy, which is a prior valid marriage, is completely absent, which precludes a conviction. Furthermore, a judicial declaration of absolute nullity of the second marriage obtained in a separate proceeding, irrespective of the time it was secured, is explicitly recognized as a valid defense. So that is under Pulido versus People. Okay, now how to apply that in the given facts? Here, okay, JR has a valid defense against the bigamy charge because both of his marriages are void ab initio, negating the essential elements of the crime. Now, regarding the first marriage to Inca, so you need to address, kasi two marriages yan eh. Regarding the first marriage to Inca in 1981, a marriage celebrated without a valid marriage license is void ab initio. Meaning, the first essential element of bigamy, which is a prior valid marriage, is absent. No? Tingnan nyo, no? Nakalagay dyan yung facts, no? First marriage to Inca in 1981. Nakalagay yung inyong legal basis. Okay, so a marriage celebrated without a valid marriage license is void ab initio. Now, i-apply mo yan ngayon, no? Meaning, the first essential element of bigamy, which is a prior valid marriage, is absent. So, meron ka ng conclusion dyan. Yan yung tinutukoy ko earlier na checkable needs. You have your facts, you have your legal basis, then you have your mini conclusion. Okay, so applying the Supreme Court's ruling, JR does not need a prior judicial declaration of nullity. He may raise the invalidity of his first marriage with Inca as a defense directly in the criminal proceedings. Now, on the second marriage to Elena in 1995, a marriage without a marriage ceremony is likewise void ab initio, meaning the essential element of contracting a second or subsequent marriage is legally lacking. Okay, Elena's judicial declaration of nullity of the second marriage, which is granted with the finality by the RTC, is a valid defense in the bigamy prosecution. So the fact that it was obtained after the marriage was contracted is immaterial under the jurisprudence, as the controlling consideration is that a void ab initio marriage is legally inexistent from inception, which further negates bigamy liability on the side of the second marriage. Conclusion, therefore, JR's defense is valid. Now, you can summarize this more, no? I've only presented this in this way so that you'll know the substantive law. Okay, kaya siya medyo mahaba. However, if you can simply put or summarize this in 3 sentences, 4 sentences, then okay yun, no? Kung directly to the point, concise lang and brief lang. Okay? Likewise, in the legal basis, if you can summarize this more in simply 2 sentences, then okay na yun. Okay, hindi kailangan mahaba. No? Medyo mahaba lang dito for purposes of my explanation. Alright? Now, so let's move to other bar question. Okay? So basahin nyo na lang muna ito. You can screenshot this particular question. Okay? So screenshot nyo muna para mapag-aralan nyo how to spot issues, no? How to identify trigger words. Okay? And then how to present, no? In ALAC format. Okay? So tingnan nyo yan, no? Legal basis, 1 sentence lang. Okay lang din yan. Ganyan lang kaikli. No? Okay, so screenshot nyo na yan. What else? Here, question number 3. Injunction against the president. So the question here is, can a suit for injunction be aptly filed with the Supreme Court to stop the president of the Philippines from entering into a peace agreement with the National Democratic Front? Okay, so that is the question, okay? So we have here issue tag, so political question doctrine, the presidential immunity from suit, okay, the jurisdiction limits, the RTC jurisdiction, okay? So how to spot, no? So this deceptively short question contains at least 3 hidden issues. So we have number 1 issue, substantive political law. So the peace agreement with the NDF or the National Democratic Front is a purely political question, making it non-justiciable under the political question doctrine. Okay? Second, presidential immunity. Pwede niyan din yung issue. The president cannot be sued during his term without consent. Or pwede rin namang third, no, remedial law angle. Okay, so under Batas Pambansa Bilang 129, injunction is injunction as an action incapable of pecuniary estimation is within the exclusive jurisdiction, original jurisdiction of the RTC and not the Supreme Court. So if this question falls under a remedial law, okay, so focus on the remedial law aspect, which is about the jurisdiction of the court. Okay? Again, since this is a 2003 remedial law bar question, no, hindi nyo sasagutin if it is a political question or is it about the presidential immunity. Hindi ganon. Hindi ganon ang pagsagot. Ang i-address nyo lang dito ay yung jurisdiction ng Supreme Court. No, tama ba? Nasa Supreme Court final ang suit for injunction, hindi ba dapat sa RTC? So you need only to address, no, kung saan siya naka-under na subject para hindi halo-halo ang sagot nyo. Baka kasi nagsasagot kayo sa remedial law pero political question ang ina-address nyo. So hindi ganun. Okay? So here, so ALAC answer. No, a suit for injunction cannot be aptly filed with the Supreme Court to stop the president from entering into a peace agreement with the NDF. So legal basis, so under the Batas Pambansa Bilang 129, or just simply state that under the law on court's jurisdiction, okay, an action for injunction which is incapable of pecuniary estimation falls within the exclusive original jurisdiction of the RTC. The Supreme Court has no original jurisdiction over injunction suits. Here, the action is for injunction enjoining the President of the Philippines from entering into a peace agreement with the National Democratic Front is an action incapable of pecuniary estimation. So the proper venue for an injunction action is the RTC, not the Supreme Court, which has no original jurisdiction over injunction suits, okay, under the law on court's jurisdiction. Hence, the exclusive jurisdiction of such action is with the RTC, and thus the suit cannot be aptly filed with the Supreme Court. Okay, so that is how you answer. Okay, you may have a screenshot, no, of this ALAC answer. Okay, we also have a criminal law bar question. Okay, so let's read the question. Okay, is the judgment of conviction correct as to the crime committed? O, nabasa niyo na yung tanong. Anong tinatanong? Yung judgment of conviction. Tama ba? So ngayon, pag binasa niyo yung problem, sino ba ang nakonvict? Bakit nga ba siya nakonvict? So yun agad ang nasa isip niyo. Now, let's read the problem. Levy engaged the escort services of Leo for 50,000. After having sex, Levy paid Leo only 10,000. So feeling shortchanged, Leo grabbed a knife and repeatedly stabbed Levy. Thereafter, Leo rummaged through Levy's belongings and took his wallet, cell phone, and watch. Leo was convicted of the special complex crime of robbery with homicide. So tama ba? Tanong dyan, is the judgment of conviction correct as to the crime committed? So tama ba na na-convict si Leo sa special complex crime of robbery with homicide? Okay. So how to spot issue? Now, the surface question seems easy. It is about robbery with homicide. But the hidden issue here is the original intent or animus lucrandi. So in robbery with homicide, the intent to rob must exist prior to or at the time of the killing. Here, Leo's motive for killing Levi was anger for being what? Underpaid. Hindi siya nabayaran eh. 50,000 usapan nila pero 10,000 lang binigay. Okay? So it is not actually an intent to rob. So the taking came after the killing and was a separate subsequent act. So under katakutan versus people, if the killing is not for the purpose of taking the property and the taking comes after and it's a separate decision, the crimes are separate, no? Hindi siya special complex crime, but a separate crime of homicide and theft. Okay? Not a special complex crime of robbery with homicide. Okay? So that is how you analyze, no, the problem. So how to present that in ALAC format? So no, the judgment of conviction for robbery with homicide is not correct, okay, as to the crime committed. Under the revised penal code, for the special complex crime of robbery with homicide to exist, the intent to rob must be the primary motivating purpose, and the killing must occur by reason of or on the occasion of that robbery. So yung mga ano nyo ha, mga legal jargons nyo, by reason of or on occasion of that robbery. Okay? The Supreme Court held that if the killing arose from a motive other than the intent to take property, and the taking occurred as an afterthought, no? After the killing, the crimes are treated as separate. The killing cannot retroactively become part of robbery with homicide. So that is how you present your legal basis if it is under a code and under a jurisprudence. So present first the revised penal code or present first the codal provision, then present the jurisprudence. So that's how you present ha, pag dalawa ang inyong sinasite. Okay, para hindi maghalo-halo. Kasi baka naglalagay kayo na under jurisprudence, under civil code pala siya. Now, if you are not sure if it is under the civil code, rather the criminal code or the revised penal code, no? If you are not sure if it's under the revised penal code or the Supreme Court or jurisprudence, pwede nyo na lang sabihin under the law. Pag hindi lang kayo sure kung saan ba siya naka-cluster or nakalagay, no? Sa revised penal code ba siya or sa jurisprudence ba siya? So, lagay nyo na lang, just to be safe, under the law. Okay? Now, application. Here, Leo's motive for repeatedly stabbing Levi was rage over being underpaid for his escort services and not intent to rob. So, tingnan nyo ha, apply the parties. Ano ba yung pangalan ng mga parties involved? Ilagay nyo sa application. So, Leo, Levi. Okay? The animus lucrandi did not exist at the time of or as the reason for the killing. The taking of Levi's wallet, cell phone, and watch occurred only after Levi was already dead and appears to have been a subsequent independent decision. So since the killing arose from a motive other than the intent to take property and the taking occurred as an afterthought after the killing, Leo should therefore be held liable for two separate crimes, which are what? Homicide for the killing of Levi and theft for taking of his belongings after his death. The complex crime of robbery with homicide requires a unity of purpose between the killing and the taking, which is absent here. Now, observe, no? In-apply nyo ang what? Facts? Then in-apply nyo yung legal basis nyo dito sa application. Ito yung pinaka-critical eh. Paano nyo i-apply? ang legal basis, no, sa problem. So, tingnan nyo maigi, ha? Ilagay nyo yung important facts, details, then ilagay nyo yung applicable doon na relevant legal basis, okay? Then for the conclusion, hence the conviction for robbery with homicide is incorrect. Okay? Now we also have here other example for political law. So just take a screenshot, no? Sige, screenshot muna kayo. And then basahin nyo, pag-aralan yung maigi. Then here, alak presentation. Now, there's no need to cite specific articles. So I presented these specific articles merely for purposes of discussion, no? Pero sa actual bar exam or in your finals or midterms, hindi nyo kailangang ilagay or mag-cite ng specific article or section, no? Hindi kailangan. Lagay nyo lang under the law, under the constitution, okay? Ganun lang. Okay? Kahit na also in citing cases, no need to specify or cite specific case titles. Hindi kailangan. Actually, it is not encouraged. Okay? Okay, so take a screenshot. Then we also have here other criminal law bar question. Okay? So tingnan nyo, rule on the challenge. No? Basahin nyo lagi muna yung tanong. O ano ba yung challenge dyan? Now, when you read the question, ano ba yung mga china-challenge dyan ng petitioner or ng accused? No? Okay. Okay, take a screenshot. Here also. Okay. So we have here cardinal rule. Before you write your first word, ask yourself, no, what format is this question asking me to use? Okay? So the signal words in the question tells you the structure, no? The facts in the question tell you the substance. So master both and you will not only pass, but you will excel the bar exam. Okay? So you need to what? Identify the signal words, the question, and then identify the facts, no? Because it tells you the substance, no? Understand the facts. So we have here common errors and final reminders, okay? Now, before we move here, for the ALAC presentation, for in-depth discussion on ALAC presentation, okay, you may join or you may register in the membership in my YouTube account so that we will have a more in-depth discussion or one-on-one coaching. If you want to have a one-on-one coaching, if you need a mentor, okay, so you may join the membership in this YouTube channel, okay? So I will post in the comment, okay, the process on how to be a member, all right? So we have here some common errors and final reminders, okay? So, ito yung common mistakes ha, ito yung wag niyong susundin. So, skipping the call or skipping the question. So, reading the facts first and missing what is actually asked, no? So, anong tama? Always read the last line first, yung question muna. And then, ano pang mistake? Answering the wrong issue. So, even though you eloquently answer the question, pero mali naman yung issues, mali pa rin. Alright? What else? Starting with a long introduction. So, hindi na kailangan ng mahaba. Be concise, be specific, be brief. Okay? Hindi kailangan mahaba ang sagot. Then, you recite the law without applying to the facts. Ito, common mistake ito. Sinasabi yung law, yung basis, pero hindi niya naman na-apply sa facts. So, mali din yun. Kulang yung points. Okay? So, very important ha. So, application is where scores are won or lost. No? What else? Forgetting to address defenses. May defenses pero hindi nyo nasagot or hindi nyo in-address. So, you need to read the defenses. Kung criminal law yan, tingnan nyo ano ba yung defenses. I-address nyo yung defenses. No? Very important. What else? Missing sub-issues. So, jumping to the substantive answer when a preliminary issue, jurisdiction is clearly embedded in the facts. No? Preliminary issue muna bago yung substantive issue. Okay? And then, you restate the entire problem. Mali yun. No? Nirepeat mo lahat ng facts, pati irrelevant, nilagay mo na. So, para ka nang paikot-ikot, hinuhulaan mo na lang kung ano yung relevant. So, mali yun. Okay? And then, what else? Yan, overhedging the answer. Ilalagay mo, it depends or possibly. No, mali yan, no? Huwag kayo maglalagay ng it depends or possibly or I think or I guess, no? Lagi direct to the point. Kung is it answerable by yes or no, then lagay nyo yes or no. Okay? And then confusing the conclusion with new analysis o common mistake. Conclusion na pero meron pang nilalagay na new argument. So wag doon. Kung may arguments man kayo, ilagay nyo na doon sa application. Okay? And then yung arguments dapat supported by yung legal basis. What else? Writing one long paragraph. So i-segment niyo yung answer nyo. Okay? 4 paragraph rule. No? Keep it short and simple. Okay? So examiners review hundreds of booklets. Ang tinitingnan na lang nila dyan, yung mga examiners, trigger words or the legal words, no? May mga titingnan lang sila dyan na mga words. Hindi lahat nababasa. So a concise, well-structured 4 paragraph answer, no, outscores a 5 page rambling answer on the same question. So precision is the highest form of legal intelligence. Okay? So keep it short and simple. The single most reliable high scoring strategy. So answer first, then you justify. Apply every legal element to specific fact. State your conclusion in one sentence. So that is ALAC, no? That is KISS. That is how you pass the bar. Okay, so here, when pressed for time, apply this hierarchy. So answer first always, no? Even if pressed with time, no, state your answer. Okay, do not leave any question blank. Okay, so cite law in shorthand if necessary. So under the RPC, under the family code, kung kulang na yung oras nyo, hindi nyo na ma-write yung buong abbreviation, no? Pwede na lang din yan, shorthand. And then 1 fact per element is enough. Okay, so you need not cite every supporting fact. So one concrete fact mapped to one legal element is a checkable unit and earns a point. Okay, pag kulang na kayo sa time. And then here's the ALAC master list. So you may take a screenshot. So this is your guide. Again, proofread your answers. Very important. Do not rush in submitting your answers. As long as you have time, proofread your answers. Huwag kayong magmadali. Mag-submit ng sagot. Okay? So we also have here top bar writing tips. Okay? Keep it short and simple. Make your answer direct. Of course, do not argue with the question. Do not answer what is not asked. And then if it calls for enumeration, provide an introductory sentence. And then if there are 2 issues involved, so address the 2 issues separately in ALAC format. Very important. If there are if the question contains 2 sub-issues, paghiwalay yung pagsagot doon. And then do not leave any question blank. You may skip difficult questions and go back to it, no? And then no case names, no? Avoid citing specific case titles or specific RA or sections, no? And make sure, if you are not sure with your answer, make an intelligent response. Okay, logical, intelligent response. So my parting words with you, grit is passion and perseverance for very long-term goals. Okay, grit is having stamina. Grit is sticking with your future day in, day out. Not just for the week, not just for the month, but for years. And working really hard to make that future a reality. So grit is living life like it's a marathon, not a sprint. Okay? So mahaba-haba, no? You need to have that passion, your perseverance, kasi this is your long-term goal. Okay? So again, thank you. This is your bar exam coach. I am Attorney Jen Estabilio. So you may follow, subscribe to my YouTube account, your bar exam coach by Attorney Jen Estabilio. You may also message me in my Telegram, okay, at your bar exam coach 22. You may also follow my X account, bar exam coach 22, and also my Facebook page, okay? So thank you so much, and I hope you've learned something new, and I'm happy that I am with you in your bar review journey or in your law school journey, okay? So thank you so much for listening.